question, we turn to her.
I like that. All right. I think that's going to give us good audio.
Don't chew your gum like you normally do.
Oh, yeah.
Put it underneath.
All right. No. We might be live.
Nah, you always say that the first time, and we never are.
I think we are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're live.
Sweet. What's going on, guys? How we doing? Hope everybody's holiday was awesome. Carlos and Steve coming at you for the AMAs. How's your New Year so far?
My New Year's has been awful. I got COVID before Christmas, and it lasted past New Year's, and I'm still catching up. So
Sorry I asked.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going fantastic.
It's been rough.
I got no complaints here. I'm still as healthy as a horse. That's the saying, right? Healthy as a horse.
Yeah.
So I feel good. Knock on wood. I hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you're not having a year like Steve.
I'm getting everything out early is how I see it. Like
Before beach season.
Yeah, that too. And yeah, I'll be healthy the rest of the year now, so I got it all out.
What any plans for beach season this year?
No. No.
No.
I mean, I'd like to work out so that I could feel comfortable on the beach, if that's what you mean. Like, that's planning ahead,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe go to some tanning ahead of time so I don't get burned every time like I do,
Yeah. Do you do regular tan or spray tan?
Neither one. I know that every single year I get burnt to a crisp, and
Yeah.
it seems like I never learn my lesson, and everyone says, oh, because we're up obviously in New York, not very warm weather. We don't get a lot of sun. So, the first time that you take your shirt off and get a little sun,
Right.
you pay the price. So
When do you typically take your shirt off? Like the first of the year? Do you do it? Are you that guy that mows his lawn with his shirt on?
No.
No?
Beach. You at the beach. That's
beach,
it. I'm
okay.
not the guy that mows his shirt with his or
Mows
mows
the lawn with his
no,
shirt
no,
off?
no, 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 no,
No.
no.
Cowboy hat on with beer in the other hands.
Yeah, cowboy boots. Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Right.
I've had neighbors like that,
Yeah.
but no,
You
not me.
never were the neighbor?
I've never been that guy.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe if you get older. Another 10 or 15 years,
Yeah.
you could be that guy. Then
Yeah.
it's acceptable.
Yeah, honestly, what? Yeah, leave me alone. I've
Yeah.
earned the right.
Yeah. Oh, that's Mr. Steve.
Yeah.
This is his time of the year. I gotcha. All right. Well, another round of awesome questions. I don't know. You want to jump into it, or do you have anything else you want to kind of let out?
I know the chances are slim. We got a huge community, but if there's by any chance anybody that's local to the Western New York area, we're going to be doing a presentation tomorrow for the Western New York Real Estate Investors Association
Yeah.
at the Cove, which is a bar on Transit.
Big bar. Yeah.
Big bar on Transit, and
They have refreshments and stuff.
they always have beer and
Pizza and
pizza, things like that. RentPrep will cover the guest fee of $15 if
Oh, nice.
if you come and say that you're here with the community or here with the group.
Okay.
I know we're sending out an email.
Why would anybody want to go? Like, what happens here?
Oh, it's a it's a good networking event for local networking. So a lot of real estate transactions happen there. A lot of those guys, they never list the properties. They just sell it to other people within the group. So usually when they start the meeting, Tom Larson, the gentleman who is the president and runs these meetings, will give a couple of minutes to let everybody mingle, and then also say, hey, anybody have any properties for sale?
Oh, okay.
Anybody looking to buy properties? And then people will stand up and say, yeah, I've got a 3-unit in Buffalo or this or that. So
there's investors with some bank.
yeah, there's real investors that
Ready
have
to
property,
go.
and so it's great for that. And then they always have guests. We're obviously a guest, and so we're going to be talking about background checks and screening tenants and how compliance and New York
going on in 2022.
Yeah, New York laws specifically. But they've got all kinds of guests. There's a judge that they have out there pretty frequently who does like evictions.
Okay.
And this guy's great. I've heard him before. And so he gives you I mean, this guy's stories. I mean, imagine being an eviction judge.
Yeah.
This guy's stories are awesome.
I definitely want to sit at the table with that guy.
Yeah, for sure. So
you get a couple in him, he starts letting it all out,
yeah.
And then we also have we're also bringing a special guest from the office too to kind of help out with the night,
Yes. Screening manager Chelsea will be there at the event.
Yeah.
So if you want to come meet Chelsea,
She'll be at the table. She's going to be at the FAQ table. I call it the frequently asked questions table.
That's right.
I'll be around shaking hands and kissing babies.
Just not the other way around. Don't shake babies and kiss hands. It's weird.
I mean, either way, I think it kind of works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be there saying hello to everybody, schmoozing everybody, and making sure they got drinks and pizza. You'll be doing speaking.
I will be speaking.
You will be speaking live at the podium. So it'll be an opportunity for you guys, again, if you're local, to come on out. We'll pay for the admission and get a chance to meet the CEO, yours truly, and ask some screening questions. Maybe even sell your property if you're looking to get out at this time.
Pick one up.
Or pick one up. Yeah, awesome. Or just have a good night.
Have a couple of beers.
They got video games, and maybe we can get the DJ going.
I'll have a beer with you. I'll start my diet the next day for beach season.
Right.
Yeah.
We drink light beers.
Yeah.
Let's get into this.
All right.
All right?
Let's do it.
We should try to get Ashley out there. The Phantom Ashley, everybody. We talk about her all the time, but nobody's ever seen her.
Well, now conveniently she said she lost her voice, so
Yeah. Well,
she's probably not going to be there.
but when she does come to the next one, we will make sure that she's out there, and we'll let everybody know at that point.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like a nationwide email blast right there,
for sure.
flying in. All right, let's get into it. Right? Okay, so like we do every show, we get questions that are sent in previously to the show, and then we also get questions that are actually in our Facebook group. So we're going to kind of flip-flop between the two. I'm going to try to get through all of them. If I don't, I apologize. And if you really need the answer, get back in contact with us. Write it down in the comments, and we'll do our best to try to answer the questions for you. All in all, we see same guests coming in, see some new ones there. Mary, how you doing? Session's going to be for about an hour. So we started at 3. We got a hard stop at 4 o'clock. Sometimes we dabble into the 4:05-ish for a little... bonus scenes, I guess you see, or deleted scenes that Ashley doesn't delete and then kind of leaves up there sometimes. So you get a little extra there. But yeah, about an hour, and we're going to go through all the calls here. And I'm wondering if you're the same Mary. If you're the same Mary with the Hawaiian condo, give me a quick, I don't know.
Thumbs up?
Thumbs up, maybe?
I don't know if they do that on Facebook chat.
Something like that?
Yeah.
But if Miss Mary, if this is you, we're going to answer your question first because I see you're already in the watching it live. All right, here we go. Question for Mary. Miss Mary asks, Hawaii condo, furnished apartment. How do I word a lease to explain that all furnishings are as is and will not be replaced at the end of life? I don't want to replace old furniture, lamps, curtains, dishes, kitchenware, small appliance, etc. Will maintain and replace major appliances like the stove, the fridge, dishwasher. Would rather not replace carpeting. Mary says she lives in New York City and rent directly. I do not have a property manager in Hawaii, and many landlords in the group recommend not replacing items. But how do I say this?
Well,
it is Mary.
Hi, Mary. So, Mary, I could speak to you directly. It's weird.
Yeah.
You're right here. First piece of advice is keep in mind you don't need to go crazy and overcomplicate lease language. Again, I know I mentioned this a couple of times on these AMAs. An attorney once told me, and it has always stuck, if you write anything down and 2 people agree to it, that's an agreement. That's a contractual agreement, as long as it doesn't break a law or go outside of compliance or anything. So I think about that advice when I think about the situation is don't worry about overcomplicating it. Put in the lease the way that you want it to be structured. So you want to make sure that you're protecting protect the furniture, right? So you want to put something in there that it still can't be damaged, and they're going to be responsible for damage or loss.
Okay.
You don't want to make it sound like, hey, I really don't care about this furniture and I'm not going to replace it, because that might be an open invitation for somebody to think, well, this she probably doesn't care that much about this, so I'm going to smash this lamp and it's no big deal.
Sure.
So tread carefully. But the way that I would word it is be very specific about what does fall under that, the furnishings that you're willing to maintain. So major appliances, that makes sense. Usually you want to take inventory and list it out. So, if it's a fridge, a stove, a microwave, you're going to list all that stuff out. And then if you just want to lump everything into a general, category of as is furnishings, for example, and then list, the lamps and those type of things, just be clear about what is going to be maintained and replaced and repaired, and what's not, and what the expectations are. I resist the temptation to overcomplicate it and spin yourself into circles with your own wording. I think the way that the question was worded was pretty good. I mean, if you can spin that into a lease agreement, an addendum, a house furnishing addendum, I'm pretty positive we have one on RentPrep.com as like a template, and usually lets you list everything out, and then leave one space to kind of a catch-all that the rest of the furnishing is as is, will not be replaced. However, landlord needs to be notified in the event of loss or damage.
Yeah, cut and dry.
Yeah.
So, Mary, give us a heads up one way or another if we answer the question. If you want us to answer a little bit more in detail about something, or just go ahead and throw it right in the comments, and we'll answer it as we get them in. But hopefully we answered the question for you. Thanks for stopping out. I hope you don't now log off. I hope you stick around for just a little bit if you can, and kind of get a little bit more insight as to what other people in the groups and things like that are asking. So
yeah, see if we can get the furnishing addendum posted up in the comments for Mary too. I don't know if Josh or Ashley can try and grab that for Mary.
Taking notes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Awesome. Okay, Sherry. I feel we get this quite often, especially when it comes to like out west, the state of California. Cali is always, being Cali.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Real simple. With the cost of living increase of 7%, can rent be raised this amount since I reduced the rent in 2019 where renters moved in and have only had one increase last year, which was less than 1% in the state of California? I think Cali caps it, don't they?
As of 2020, Cali caps it 5%. So that's your max. That's as much as you can go.
Yeah.
So I would raise it 5%. It feels like these are those things that there's going to be give and take, right? Like, all right, COVID happens, pandemic. We need to protect tenants. We need to protect people. We're worried about people not having a lot of money and losing jobs, things like that. Let's tighten things down. That's why you see that statewide rent control in 2020. I would expect at some point there may be a little bit of a pushback, and eventually you find some middle ground there. But unfortunately, the pandemic has pushed a lot of tenant-friendly laws and rules and regulations through that are they're gonna be around for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, the state's not going to look at what you did in the past. They're just looking to make sure that you're abiding by the current law that they put in place. So, to answer your question, Sherry, if you're out there, 5%. So that is it. That's your cap. That's as far as you can go. There's no way around that. There's no gray area. 5%.
Yeah.
And that is that.
Yeah, I wouldn't push. I don't know if you're looking at the news, reading the news. Man, landlords are getting canceled left and right.
Left and right.
And they're not always bad people. They're not always lawbreakers. These are people like Sherry that are saying, "Hey, I
worked with you. I'm kind of getting
and now I'm getting crushed."
The wrong end of the stick on this.
Yeah. So it's don't be the example.
Don't be the example,
Yeah.
Sherry. All right, here we go. Rich is asking. So I think this next one it depends on what state you're in. I did a little bit of research on this too, and I talked to our compliance department on this. So they kind of gave me direction as to where this was going to go. But very simple question: if a tenant is applying to rent and is a registered sex offender, is he or her required to notify the landlord? So what I came up with was, unless your lease contains a clause that obligates the sex offender to report their status, or the law requires that the offender report the status to the private persons and or companies.
I'm as crazy as this. I'm aware of no states that require the sex offender to report. However, New York is trying to pass a bill that would require the landlord to do a sex offender search.
Right.
And then if there's an issue, I'm not sure if there's a reporting requirement there though on top of it.
But what worries me is that you're having an applicant fill out an application where that doesn't have that language on there somewhere. You obviously have something where it alludes to the fact that if you do have a criminal or something like that, you may not be considered.
Unless you're in a ban the box state. Oh, that you can't ask about.
Come on.
You can't ask.
I know.
You can't ask about it ahead of time. Good screening. That's the answer.
Good screening.
Screen them. If they're a registered sex offender, it's going to show up in the screening.
Right.
Make sure that you have written screening criteria.
Right.
And make sure that that's in your screening criteria.
But unless the law doesn't state that they're required to let you know,
no.
And you don't have anything in your application or your lease, I hate to say it like this, you did it to yourself.
You played yourself.
You played yourself.
Yeah, there's no requirement.
There's no requirement.
And I doubt that a sex offender's walking around super excited and jazzed to tell everybody that he's a sex offender.
Right.
So the chances are they're probably not going to tell you, hey,
now,
just so you know, I'm a sex offender.
Now, what happens if, and this is a little curveball here now, if you have it in the lease and they're not a sex offender,
I know you're
6 months down the road.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
You see his face, or you get a flyer at your house. You know how they do that sometimes once a month.
Yep.
Then, can you evict that person?
They're in violation of the lease agreement. If they agreed to it, they signed it and said,
at any time during.
Yeah, if I become a sex offender at any time during my
tenancy,
then
or criminal too, or no?
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
You'd have to be really, really specific.
Okay.
And specify the charge, the disposition. You'd have to be very specific. Sex offender feels more of like a big net, you know?
Yeah.
If you're on the registry, you're on the registry. If you've been convicted of a crime, there's 100 different ways that could go. You could have pled out. It could have been reduced to a misdemeanor. There could be a lot of things there. So I would say that's a dangerous trap. But the sex offender one, if you felt like adding that language,
it doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. I still don't feel like people are going to be. I mean, but it does protect you in the event that they become a sex offender while they're a tenant, and you want to have some sort of remedy, that could give you obvious just cause for an eviction is they're in violation of the lease agreement.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That'll work.
All right.
Can
we just talk about your scarf for a second?
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's going on? Very Harry Potter, but it's like if Harry Potter was a model. I feel like.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that one as a compliment.
It was.
Well, we have a screener here. She's I'm not going to give her name. It starts with an A, her name.
Okay.
I just want to keep her identity until she gives me the go ahead. But
all right.
She just is kind of hipsterish. And she, I actually went to her and I says, "Hey," I said, "scarf or no scarf?"
Yeah.
Because this is actually a V-neck.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
You can see the V-neck.
Yeah.
But I saw on the website, an Express website, the guys were wearing scarves even indoors. And it's a little hot. I'm gonna be honest, but wasn't it? Is it like pain is beauty or something like that? Beauty is pain.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Fit over form. Yeah, like yeah, I gotcha.
So, anyways, the screener, I said scarf on or off. She took a look. She's like, I like the scarf on. It really kind of completes everything that you're trying to do here. So,
Okay.
I mean, my neck is sweating. I'm going to be honest. But
But you look great, so
thanks.
that's all that matters.
Thanks. Now, if there was no snow outside, it'd be a different story.
It is.
I don't think I could get away with this like in the summertime.
Right. It is snowing,
Right.
so it does make sense.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that's where it's at.
All right.
Okay.
Cool scarf.
More than welcome to add your comment, whether or not scarf on or scarf off. And yeah, we play it out that way. I guess somebody says I look like a Hufflepuff. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Melba.
Melba
This is
toast.
one of your... I don't mean to chuckle at this one, but you'll know why I chuckled.
Okay.
It's the very end of the question. Everybody asks this one. What are the chances?
Oh.
It's one of those ones.
Okay.
So, question from Melba says, can we go after a past tenant for past unpaid rent and damages made to the property after eviction? If so, how?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the chances of actually getting compensated?
I'll get right
Got
to
you
it.
stuttering.
Yeah. Not going to sugarcoat it. Chances are low.
When you mean low, are we talking like 60-40? Are we talking
I'm saying
70-30?
I'm saying your chances of walking into the casino and coming out with more money than you went in with are better than recovering that money, statistically speaking. I don't want to be a naysayer, but
Right.
a couple of key points that I pulled out of that question. They were evicted. She said she did get an eviction.
After the eviction, yeah.
Okay, so you should be able to convert that eviction
To a judgment.
into a money judgment if it hasn't been done already. So if you have that initial eviction, that eviction is a judgment, and they're typically filed as $0 evictions. When you update the courts with all of the damages, which I encourage every landlord to do, because that creates a judgment that now you have a couple of different levers that you can pull. And I'm going to give the same advice that we usually do. Don't waste your time. Don't throw good money at bad. Don't spend money to try and collect this. If you want to take the really, really passive route, find an attorney or a collection agency, local collection agency, that works on contingency basis.
That's key.
Yeah, they're not getting paid until you get paid.
Right.
And they also have some skin in the game. They want to get paid. Make sure it's a good collection agency.
Sure, make sure they're reputable.
Okay. That being said, if the next step up to amount of effort you're willing to put towards it and money or energy, I would say would be a tax refund garnishment that needs to be filed at the county level. In our county, I think it's $15. And there's a filing deadline of usually in December, end of the year. And if they get a tax refund, you can take part or the whole amount of the tax refund if it's more than what they owe.
As long as you have the judgment already in place.
You have to have that judgment in place. Yes.
So if they go through this process this year, 2022 now,
yeah,
and they file that in December, then they'll get 2023's, well, it'll be 2022's money, but they would be getting then the money in April or whenever they get in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And I don't know. Not that I don't know. Maybe landlords would like this idea, but from what I've heard, I've never had one filed against me. I've never filed one against somebody else. I've talked to landlords that have done this, and there is some sort of satisfaction of knowing that the tenant who has managed to, slither their way out of paying is not aware that they're not getting a tax refund until the paperwork comes.
Do they know who the tax refund's going to?
That I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure yes they do, because it'll be like a line item and say what the amount was that was deducted and where it goes to. But that's their first notification, and so it is sort of a shock to them.
Wow.
And so if there's any justice out there for a landlord that,
Talk about a smack in the mouth.
yeah, if there's any justice for a landlord that
Holy cow.
that had to deal with damages and evict someone, and they drug them through, just the worst of the worst. Probably awesome. When that person's opening that envelope expecting to see a tax refund, and instead,
guess what?
Yeah, it's an itemized list of where your money actually went, and it turns out it was to somebody that you owed money to.
Right.
Probably not great news.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary.
I know it's not snowing.
Gary says it's not snowing, but you could say like it's always chilly when you're cool. Like say something cool like that.
It's always chilly when you're cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, if you're wearing sunglasses indoors and somebody says like, "Well, it's always sunny when you're cool,"
All right. You do that?
Sometimes.
I mean, that came quick.
I'm
You're not that witty.
I'm light sensitive, so yeah. There's been times I've worn sunglasses inside. Gotcha.
All right. Question from Rachel. Rachel said, and I think we need to get to this one because this is happening tomorrow.
Oh.
So hopefully she's watching.
Yeah.
Rachel, here we go. Looking at a home tomorrow to potentially purchase with an existing tenant that is paying rent of $800 to $900 monthly with a lease until the end of 2022.
Okay.
Market rent is $1,200.
Okay.
The home is for sale by owner.
Okay.
I will obtain the lease agreement, rent history, security deposit, etc. before going under contract.
Okay.
The house is listed at fair market price, but with a current tenant paying under market rent. Any advice on negotiating the purchase or pointers for a first-time purchase of tenant occupied?
Depending on what market she's in, her negotiations may not go well.
Okay.
It is, it's a seller's market right now where, you're getting what you ask for it, regardless of the reasoning. Not to say that it's not worth taking a stab at it and say, hey, let's, like you did a little bit of homework, like, hey, I did the numbers on this, and they don't really work out great, and are you flexible at all, or can you budge on the price?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to break it down to the seller and say, listen, if I get a mortgage for your asking price at however many years, this is what the mortgage is. If it exceeds what the current renter is paying, I think that would hold more weight and say, listen, this isn't working, or
yeah, the numbers aren't working out. But again, I would just caution you that it's not the right. It's not a friendly market to do that, because there's a chance you may lose the home, or they may not. So I wouldn't push super hard, but I think it's always worth tossing it out there and seeing if they bite on it.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's on the negotiation side. In terms of purchasing a occupied rental property, so you're inheriting tenants. Mm-hmm. There is a couple of things that I think are important to point out. Number one, you want to make sure that in addition to a security deposit transfer, which should always happen where the existing owner transfers the security deposit, you want to have what's called an estoppel agreement in place. And that protects you above and beyond that security deposit transfer. So in the event that
Rachel lives on, mortgage will exceed the rent.
There you go. So Rachel, I'm glad you're listening in live. Remember this, estoppel agreement. I think it's ESTOPPEL. So what that's going to protect you against is in the event that, let's say the transaction's done, you purchase the property, you get your negotiated amount that you want, and come end of the year, tenant moves out, and they say, give me my $3,000 security deposit, and you say, well, wait a minute, I was only transferred $2,000, and then when they leave, maybe they pull out the air conditioning units and they start pulling things out that you weren't aware of. That estoppel agreement has to be agreed upon by all parties, the seller, the buyer, and the tenant. So that's going to flush out any issues that might arise from somebody trying to take advantage of the fact that you weren't there for the lease origination. You may not know every little detail. And so that's going to cover you above and beyond just the security deposit transfer. So make sure you have that. And then I would say common sense stuff, like make sure you introduce yourself to the tenants, build good communication, and set some expectation. Like, here's how you contact me in case something happens.
Well, I got a question.
Yeah.
I want to, before you get into that real fast here. So does Rachel have an opportunity though? Is for buying the house?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't she have the legal right to give the tenant in the house 30 days to evict because she's buying?
No. That's a great question.
Because if that's the case, then you can start everything back over again.
No, you can't do that. A lease agreement is a legal binding agreement. It does not matter that there is a new homeowner. That agreement is still in place until the end of that agreement. So
even if the homeowner wants to live there, they're buying the house.
They would have to be on a month to month. But if she has an agreement that has a term in place, that term is enforceable even with the new owner, unless that tenant agrees otherwise, and signs something that says, or it was listed or they agreed to it in the lease agreement. But typically, you inherit those tenants. You're inheriting the lease agreement, which is a legally binding agreement that survives the sale of a home as well. So
I got you. Yeah, I don't know why I was under the impression that if you're leasing, or renting, whatever you want to say it, and the house goes under new ownership, the new owners has the right to determine whether or not they want to continue to rent to you, or say, listen, I just bought the house.
Well, you may be remembering that happened to me when I first got married, but the difference was I was on a month-to-month agreement.
Oh.
And so they just notified me that they weren't going to renew the agreement. The new owners wanted to actually live in the property.
Right.
It was I still think they're crazy. I still drive by this place. And they converted it from an upper lower to just one
big house.
One big house. And it looks like a junkyard there now. It's crazy. But
right.
Yeah, they gave us notice that they weren't going to renew the lease, so it was proper 30 days.
Okay.
And yeah, they took it over.
And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse on this, but Rachel's still on. It says lease goes with property in Tennessee, I believe. My question is this: let's just say Rachel says, you know what, we got it. We got to have this house. We this is our first one. We want to build off of this.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it. It's the mortgage is going to exceed, what the current renter is paying.
Yeah.
But we're willing to eat it until the end of the lease.
Yeah.
At the end of the lease, they want to raise the rent. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And number one, I guess this is a two-part question. Is there a cap like there is in California in every state? Is there like a federal cap that you can only increase? And if there is, let's just say in Tennessee, for example, this is Rachel, you might have to look this up to get the answer quicker, but let's just say it's 5%. And that 5% increase is still below what she's paying in the mortgage. Can she then terminate the lease and just say, I'm not going to renew the lease?
Yeah, you can always renew. Yeah.
Maybe 1 month, leave it vacant and paint.
Yeah.
And then re-rent it out at whatever.
At market value.
At market value.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, either way, this is a long-term strategy. You have to build.
You're in it till the end of this lease. It's just how you want to structure it. Are you gonna?
Yeah. You gotta build the existing lease into the deal, and maybe if this is a long-term buy and hold, for as part of a portfolio, and you don't need it to perform or you don't need it to cash flow right away, then it could still be a good deal. Yeah. So again, the market is crazy. So I could see where somebody's willing to do that. Rachel, it comes down to your strategy, your plan, your tolerance to not cash flowing on this property for at least a year, and then obviously run the numbers at market rate, make sure that it works then. And it sounds to me, though, you got that's a really thin margin.
Personal opinion, I don't think you should jump on this one, especially with it being your first purchase in a tenant-occupied home. Unless you have, like Steve was saying.
Is it her first? She said it was her first purchase?
It says right here, any advice on negotiating the purchase or pointers for a first-time purchase of tenant-occupied?
Might be just the first-time purchase of tenant-occupied, but...
I guess those are the two things you got to really consider is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just want to update in the comments coming in live. Gary pointed out that individuals or private creditors cannot garnish a federal tax refund, federal income tax. So it's got to be state level then. If it's filed at the county, I would imagine it's at
if it's filed at the county, it would go state. It wouldn't go federal.
Yep.
All right, let's get into some Facebook questions. What do you say? So Facebook group questions. I mean, these are ones that Ashley and Josh are kind of monitoring and seeing what gets a lot of traffic, what's getting a lot of answers, and maybe the person that's asking these questions really isn't getting a solid answer. So these are the ones we kind of pick up, and you got it, Rachel. We're going to try to put the kibosh on them.
Okay.
So Lee was in our group, and he asked, what are some suggestions or experiences of money transfer apps like Cash App on collecting rent? Yeah, I've been seeing this a lot. And I've been hearing this in the office amongst the product development team and stuff like that. It's it's been a question.
This drives me crazy.
Okay.
These apps that are out there now, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, what's considered peer-to-peer. They're not technically intended to collect rent. And the danger of doing this is if you're outside of the terms of service of the app that you're using, they can freeze your funds. They can freeze your account. If they see a large amount going in on a routine basis, that's for sure going to trigger their algorithm to notify those or notice those things. The other danger there is there's no protection. So if you pay somebody with PayPal through, and you have the option in PayPal, it says, are you paying is this a business or is this friends and family? And they select friends and family because there's no fee, right?
Right.
You have no protection as the receiver of that money. If they file a dispute, if they put a hold or a block on it, or there's nothing that's going to protect you from retaining those funds, and so it's dangerous. And those, you're as a landlord, you're technically collecting money as a business. It's not between friends and family, and so. I've read articles that there's going to be a crackdown.
I read something recently about that. Any deposit 600 or more, there's talk about trying to tax it or
it's an issue for these companies, these apps, because they get dragged into tax audits, or they get now they're giving up information. They're having to investigate these things. It's probably a pain for them. There's a lot of good options out there outside of this. I would say ACH through your bank is not a bad option. But if you're not willing to do that or set that up through your own bank account, there's plenty of platforms out there that are specifically designed for the rental industry. PayRent is one. They're all over the place now, but I would caution against the ease of use of some of them, because it could turn around and bite you. And we hear stories of it here and there, but I really feel like there's going to be a crackdown just from the buzz that you hear. That it's not going to continue to go on forever. I know for years landlords have collected rent through PayPal. It's dangerous. If you get your funds frozen, it's a lot of money.
I mean, there are a lot of products that are out there that are specific toward rent payments.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different platforms out there. You just got to go online, do a little bit of research on it. But yeah, don't use, especially when you're running your business and you're playing with money here.
Yeah.
It's just something you don't want to mess with. Don't try and take shortcuts with this stuff, because that's the worst thing. You don't want the A word. Audit.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it.
Whoops.
That's the nastiest, dirtiest word. That word very rarely leaves my lips. I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I only read the first line in this one, and in quotations there's a little thing, so it's kind of geared me right toward it. So
okay.
This is from Latoya. Again, this was in our Facebook group.
Okay.
So Latoya, I have a tenant where I do not plan on renewing her lease. She's nasty. I don't know. She put that in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
She's nasty.
She's nasty.
All right.
She's coming up on the 6 month mark, and I plan to do a home inspection to document and assess any damages.
Yep.
She has a portable dishwasher that I did not approve, but not listed in the lease. Lesson learned. Thanks, Latoya, for taking at least, you know, some responsibility on that. Which has overflowed twice onto the first apartment floor. I told her that it was not allowed and to discontinue use. My question is, after the inspection, can I amend her lease to include no washer or dryer clause? And how should I recoup costs for damages or repairs after her move out if I only had a non-refundable move-in fee? So I think the only way you can amend a lease is if both parties are in agreement.
Yeah.
You can try to amend all day long, but
Yeah.
if she's like, nope, I don't agree to that.
Right.
You know, then it's not law abiding. You have to go off of what you originally did. So
Yeah, and so I want to cut Latoya some slack here because
Yeah.
I mean, who thinks to put in a lease agreement that
Right.
you can't have a portable dishwasher? Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't have thought of that. But so read through your lease agreement again, Latoya, and just see if there's anything in there that you could relate to this. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. There's got to be something in there that mentions, you cannot have an additional appliance. You cannot. You got to get permission to, for use of certain items. I just feel like that.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just feel like
That's
that.
tough. But it does. It's something I thought about too.
Getting a portable dishwasher.
No, getting a portable air conditioner.
Oh,
So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
just say that you decide after somebody moves out, you do some upgrading and you get some windows, and there's a warranty on the windows. I know a lot of times that especially I just had my windows replaced not too long ago. They told me, listen, you got the lifetime warranty on these, but if you put a portable air conditioner in the window and it does damage, your warranty
Voided.
is voided out.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, maybe you should have something in there like portable appliances need pre-approval.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not saying you're wrong. It just seems crazy to me, like to
yeah,
where
I get it.
I've never even seen I know that they exist. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever in my life seen a portable dishwasher
Really?
in person.
They're little. They're
Yeah.
like the size of those little college refrigerators that you see. They're
Okay.
about that size. They're on wheels.
Yeah.
You like hook up a tube to the water faucet, and then the other tubes down the
Right.
drain. It's just
Right.
you know,
My advice also is try to address the damage issue before the end of the lease. If you wait till the end of the lease, she's gone, he's gone, whoever it is,
Yeah.
they're gone. You're chasing that money. They're not a tenant anymore of yours. If you go at it with a different approach and say, listen, you've got X amount of months left on your lease.
right.
There was X amount of damage done because of this portable dishwasher. I want you to sign this addendum here that says you're not going to continue to use it, number one. Remember, we just talked about if two parties sign, then
Right.
it's an agreement.
But
So
if they don't want to sign, you're kind of stuck.
if they don't want to
unfortunately.
sign, it doesn't necessarily void their original lease agreement,
Right.
but you can certainly add an addendum that says, hey, don't use this thing. It's already caused damage. And then I would try to work in recovering that damage throughout the rest of the lease term if possible.
And then she threw it right at the end there, like, how should she recoup cost for damages, repairs after her move out?
Yeah, don't
if,
wait till
if
the
I
move
only
out.
had a non-refundable
Right. So
move-in fee.
you're not going to you're going to chase after her and probably never get paid, and it'll cause more stress than what it's worth. So I would say try to address those damages, the cost for those damages while she's still there, while she's still a tenant. If you wait until she's gone and she moves out, that's good.
Yeah.
Goodbye to that. I would say, your chances go way, way down. Even if you can scrape something additional that you can throw in there and say, the rent is 800 and, to make me whole, $200 additional for the damages. And even if she comes back and negotiates and says, I can only pay $100, take it, fine. And then say, okay, we'll add the rest of the balance upon your move out. Accept the fact that you may not ever get that. Whatever you collected from her in addition is a bonus.
Yeah.
It's money that if you would have waited till the very end, you probably weren't going
get it.
You weren't going to get it.
Lou said even portable washers will cause plumbing issues.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Portable. I never.
Yeah.
It's a yeah. I just. I don't know. They weren't around when I was a renter, so I'm out of that loop, and I don't run into it. My rental properties have built in, but I guess yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I did see one that fits on your counter, and I thought, how lazy do you have to be to buy a portable dishwasher that fits on your counter that you can wash 4 glasses at a time? Like, just wash them by hand.
Wash them by hand?
Right?
Well, unless you're trying to get the disinfecting thing going. Sometimes you don't wash it the right way, the heat.
Use soap and hot water.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems insane to me, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. She's nasty. Like Latoya says, so maybe
yeah, if she's going to be difficult, again,
is she nasty like how she takes care of the place, or she's nasty as her personality? That's what I want to know. Or maybe both.
Maybe both. But especially given that, I would try to address that while she's still a tenant.
Yeah. All right. Shelly, I have a question and would appreciate your feedback. You probably could have edited that out.
All right.
I have a tenant that wants her rent payments reported to the credit bureaus to build her credit. How much does this help in raising a credit score versus having a loan, credit card, line of credit, or such? I use apartment.com to collect rent, but they do not report rent payments to the credit bureaus. Hey, that kind of goes back to the other question. How do I collect payments and stuff like that? This person's using apartments.com.
Yeah, don't use apartments.com.
All right.
But reporting rent payments is going to be a big thing. It's already starting. California passed this.
Say it like Arnold every time you say that.
California.
That's a good one.
Better, yeah, getting there.
I love it.
So California passed a really weak bill that said not that landlords and property managers have to report rent payments to the credit bureaus, but that they have to give the tenant the option if they want it reported. It was written strange to where at first glance I saw it as California landlords and property managers were going to be required. After reading it through a handful of times, because of course it was written by attorneys and nothing can be simple, it was pretty clear that is actually not the letter of the law. But to me, this feels like they're putting a toe in the water, and other states have sort of tipped their hand a little bit to show that this is coming down the line. Right now, there's not a lot of great solutions. TransUnion has a free solution called Rent Bureau, which is pretty surprising because typically it costs money to report to the credit bureaus, even for like collection agencies. Creditors even usually work out some sort of an arrangement to be able to report. So Rent Bureau's free. The trick or the catch is, at least as of right now, a lot of the solutions out there require an accounting software to tie into. Otherwise, it's manual reporting for the landlord month in and month out, which is not good. So there's not a lot of great solutions out there. Was it PayRent that was working on one? I don't want to. Yeah, PayRent. I don't know if it's launched yet, but our guy Rick over there, I'd say they're on the cutting edge, and from being in the industry and what we know, not a lot of people are doing what they're doing. So I would check out PayRent, see if they've got a new release that maybe I haven't seen or noticed. But I know that soon they're going to have some rent reporting options there. In terms of what it actually does, that's a great question. I haven't seen it enough to tell you. Yeah. I would assume it's going to be like any other trade line that, it's weighted similarly. Your payments are reported.
Yeah, you obviously have some type of DBA that you're running the the business out of as the landlord, having a business account. You're not putting stuff in your personal checking account to rent. At least you should be. And I would assume that the trade line, it would show up as your business name when you do your, your paperwork and saying, okay, well, who are you as a creditor? And,
Yeah.
kind of go that route. But you have to be consistent with this. Not like you can go and be like, oh, shoot, February, I forgot to report it, because that ain't going to fly.
Right.
You know?
The other interesting thing, and I don't know the answer to this. This might be something that we can look up or talk to Rick about, but it's not a traditional. It's not a revolving. It's not an installment. There's no balance. I guess. I guess the credit bureau could ask what the full balance is on the lease, and then it becomes like an installment where you're chipping away at it, and now that full lease is sort of calculated or figured into your debt to income ratio. Mm-hmm. That's a great question that I don't know the answer to. It's pretty new and it hasn't been around long enough, and we don't. I look at a lot of credit reports, but you just don't see rent payments on there, so I can't confidently say. But it's fascinating. I don't know the answer to that, and I kind of want to go down the rabbit hole and figure that out. But
yeah.
I would imagine at the very least it's gonna register as a payment on time. Gonna give you the little green check mark, and the algorithm, whether it be FICO or Vantage Score or whatever other alternative credit score models that are out there now, it's gonna weight that. It's gonna weigh that as a on time positive payment history. So, how much it's weighted, I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
You stumped me.
It wasn't me.
She stumped me.
There you go. Got one more here, and then I kind of figured maybe leave it the last 5 minutes or so to kind of talk about maybe 2022 as far as, is there anything that any of our viewers or our users are, can look forward to as far as, RentPrep goes or anything like that.
Okay.
But last question here from Michael. What solutions do you recommend to lessen the expense of maintenance and or repairs? Do them yourself.
Well, first thing that came out, do it yourself. Use higher quality material.
To lower the expense? Well, initially.
Yeah, I mean, initially you're going to pay a little bit more for higher quality,
yeah.
But you know what they say about high quality. You buy high quality, you only cry once.
Fool me once.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah. Can't get fooled again.
Yeah. Fool me twice, can't fool me again.
Yeah, I mean, you could check. I know, like, some local heating, plumbing places around here have warranties that you can purchase. Mm-hmm. I don't buy them. I always feel like, I'm gonna roll the dice.
I YouTube it. I YouTube any repairs on my house. I've fixed my refrigerator before. I can't believe I did that. It's still running, so I know it's. There's been a few that I can't.
Yeah.
But YouTube's great, man. There's some awesome content on there to learn how to do stuff. I remember I think I was changing the alternator on my car, but it didn't work. I had to call your cousin. I'm like, dude, wait till you see what I did to my car. He came over.
I ruined my car.
Half of the car was in the garage. The other half was out. I started sweating. I'm like, what did I do? But plastering a hole.
Well, that
cabinets.
Yeah, simple repairs. Stuff. But the question was
maintenance and repairs.
Maintenance.
What solutions do you recommend to lessen the expense of maintenance and or repairs?
The only other idea I have is, if you have a handful of properties, go to your local service people, whether it be
pitch it.
Maybe it's a handyman. Exactly. Maybe it's a handyman. Maybe it's a plumber. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm a landlord. I've got a lot of properties, or this many properties, or whatever.
I'm looking to use somebody exclusively.
You're
kind of a do it all type of guy.
Yep.
Yep. I was kind of hoping maybe we can sit down and negotiate some prices, maybe some basics like how much to paint a house, how much to plaster a hole. Write a list of things that are common maintenance or repair issues that you're having in your properties, and present them to the guy and say, hey, man, this is what I typically see.
Yeah.
I have X amount of properties. If we can agree on some great prices, you don't have to worry about me looking around because it makes sense.
Yep.
I think it just comes down to negotiation on that. But if you have one or two units, man, put on the overalls. Tim the two-man tailor it, man.
Yeah, here's a good example of why, and I'm sure most landlords kind of know this, but also a lot of landlords learn the hard way. Myself being one of them. I put a roof on.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I'll never forget that as long as I live.
yeah, it was a nightmare.
I'll never do it again.
I learned really quick. I'm not a roofer.
It's five guys that they learned that during
Yeah.
learning that lesson.
You know what the most humiliating part was? We're young guys at the time carrying the bundles of shingles up a ladder. It's a one-story house. It's not a big house.
Yeah.
Carrying these bundles of shingles up the house and just struggling, right? Like these, I don't know how much a bundle is, maybe 50,
I think
60
they're like
pounds.
50, 60 pounds, yeah.
Well,
I feel like 500 pounds.
right. By the end of 2 days, I tapped out.
Yeah.
And said I bit off more than I can chew. I can't finish this in time. I can't have this, half done roof, and I'm gonna start losing friends over here. I can't do it. So I found a guy to come do it. It's like 60-year-old man was climbing the ladder with
One on each shoulder.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
2 bundles.
As the rest of us were at the house, I remember
Yeah.
we had our shirts off. We weren't even working,
Yeah.
drinking beers, watching this guy do this. Say, I can't believe he's doing. We should have called him originally.
Yeah.
I would have pitched in.
It was a lesson learned, and you need to be aware of who you are and who you're not.
Kind of like the alternator.
Yeah, I'm not a repairman.
I'm not a mechanic.
You're not a mechanic. So be careful doing your own stuff. I know a lot of landlords love to do it yourself, but sometimes you can end up paying twice.
Yeah.
The finish to that story is 3 months ago, I paid for a new roof. That was supposed to be a 30-year roof.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just put a new roof on that house. So,
Jeez.
pay for quality, have it done right.
What's the one thing you stay away from no matter what? You won't dabble. For me, it's plumbing. I have screwed up so much plumbing in my house
Yeah.
that when they come in, I don't even try to be like, that's a little high. At that point, it's like, you know what? I screwed it up. All right, let's go. We just got to get it done. But yeah, plumbing is forget it. I've hit the wall so many times.
Yeah, plumbing, electric.
I'll play with electric. I've zapped myself a few times, but not good enough to the point where I'm like, I got to call my boy.
Yeah. I know my limits. Plumbing,
Yeah. That's my limit.
yeah, electric. I will fiddle with. I pulled my refrigerator apart a couple of months ago. So I will fiddle with some of that stuff, but yeah.
All right.
Denise chimed in and said a man has got to know his limitations, which is a Clint Eastwood quote. I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it. Man has
Has got to know his limitations. I'm thinking like how Clint Eastwood would say
stick to Arnold.
it. All right, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a couple minutes left because I know you got a hard stop. And what I wanted to do was this is kind of a surprise to you. I should have probably given you the heads up on it, but that's what we're all about here live, putting you on the spot. So, 2022.
Yeah.
We got new things on the horizon. Without letting the cat out of the bag, giving everybody a little bit of a taste who's watching this.
Yeah.
What can our current users and future clients look forward to with our platform?
So 2022 is going to mark the launch of our new platform.
Okay.
It's been over 2 years in the making. So anybody who's used RentPrep for a while, probably feeling like, man, this place looks kind of dated. It's like watching an old Saved by the Bell episode.
I got you.
It's still cool, but it's old.
Right.
So yeah, getting a new platform, V3. So it's our version 3 platform. A lot of really cool bells and whistles are going to be on that eventually. So landlords can expect to be able to eventually collect rent payments, syndicate their listings, report to the credit bureaus. We're going to have a digital rental application, digital lease agreements. A lot of cool features and functions. Commercial screening.
So anybody who owns commercial property out there and is looking into somebody's maybe business that's you own a little strip mall or something like that, and somebody says, hey, I want to bring my nail salon in or something, and they're incorporated or whatever the case is, or they say they've been in business for years. We'll have that capability too.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good one.
The website's going to get updated, so the website's going to have a new look and feel. We are making a pretty bold statement as the most accurate tenant screening in the world.
Beautiful.
We're going to have a new product configurator that's going to be built into the platform that's going to recognize geographically where your rental property is and recommend the proper screening solution based on that area. So if we see that you're in an area that doesn't play nice and report criminal records to databases, we're going to recommend that maybe you do a state search or a county search for that criminal record and don't rely on the national database. All kinds of intricacies and things like that to help make it better.
Are we going on a road trip this year?
Going to California pretty soon.
Can't wait.
Yeah, going to California
Let
pretty
us know
soon.
if you're from Cali. Maybe we can stop by and you can show us where to get some good. What do they got in California? A lot of tofu stuff, I think, out there. I'm not into tofu.
I feel like you're stereotyping that
I've
California's a lot of tofu. We have tofu here. We have tofu at Moe's. You just don't buy. You just don't eat it.
Right. I don't think anybody ever eats it. They just put it out there.
Yeah, I think we're going to the San Francisco area.
San Francisco area?
Yeah, so you got a lot of seafood out there.
We should do an AMA out there.
That'd be pretty cool.
Right on the beach. Beach season.
All right.
There it is.
All right.
Beautiful.
We'll do a beach episode.
Right.
If we're out there. Although I don't think it's very warm in San Francisco on the beach.
Dude, it doesn't matter what time of the year. It's California, the beach, and we're from Buffalo.
Yeah,
it's going to be warm. We'll probably be the only knuckleheads out there, but you know what? They'll know exactly where we're from when they see we're as white as the wall behind us.
Yeah, usually anywhere that you go and visit, like if I go down to Florida and it's 60 degrees and I have shorts on and everyone looks at me like I'm insane, I'm like, I'm from Buffalo.
This is the only one swimming in the pool at the hotel.
Yeah. This is beautiful weather.
Must be from Buffalo.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be heading out there, but it should be an exciting year, and I'll throw this out there. I'm not making any promises, but
the Bills are going.
No, I'm not saying that.
Sophie
I don't want to.
Stadium.
I don't want to.
Second week of February.
I don't want to jinx that, but we are going to have a massive launch party for our new platform. If you're local and you want to come to our launch party, hit us up. Let us know.
It's going to be epic.
Yes, it will be epic. I'm trying to get everything imaginable there. I want a petting zoo.
Yep.
A dunk tank,
fog machine, lasers, green lasers.
Somebody giving tattoos.
Oh, I love it.
RentPrep tattoos for free.
Yeah, cap 5%.
Yeah. So yeah,
so we got a whole 2022 schedule ahead of us. There's gonna be a lot of new stuff coming out and appearances and visitations and
it should be pretty exciting. Yeah,
nothing's gonna stop us. I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, I feel like.
All right, let me retract that. What else could go wrong?
I know. These things.
What could possibly go wrong?
These things don't age well. Like if you look back in like February 2020 and somebody starts saying that, and all of a sudden like the pandemic hits the very next month, so things could stop us. But listen, we've been around for a long time.
We're gonna have deep house music at the launch party.
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah. So
we've been around. We've weathered some storms.
We're the type of guys that you want to party with.
That's true.
People have told us that.
Yeah.
And people who have actually partied with us be like, they would tell other people.
Yeah.
You want to party with these guys.
Yeah. We know how to have a good time.
Oh yeah.
You know what it is? I'm not afraid to look like an idiot. That's the key to having a great time.
Right.
You know.
That's why I'm wearing a scarf. Indoors. There you go.
If you need a better example, I don't think I can give one.
There it is.
Yeah. So.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping out. We always appreciate everybody that joins us live and gives us the comments. You guys rock. Look for us in 2022. We might be in your neighborhood. Those locals, again, we got that public speaking, or we got that event tomorrow. It's going to be at the Cove. Give us a call. We're local. If you have any questions, we'll answer the phone. I'll answer the phone.
Carlos will answer. Thanks again to Mary Most. Thanks again to Gary. Yep, a lot of activity from Gary and Denise.
Gotta get that mirror.
Josh.
I see Gary and Luz. Yeah, and Rachel.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for for joining us and contributing and sending in your questions. And
we'll see you in a month. Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's going to get weird, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you later.